security team that have just been so good to us, and I've had a really good discussion with the head of security, and I've explained to him why we are here and what social workers are doing to the babies and the children, and that the social workers have their own foster care companies. I've explained it all to him, and he's allowed us to come and stand just opposite the hospital and just do a small protest. I've spoken to the lady in question. I've just spoken to her on the telephone, and I've explained to her that she's going to get a phone call from an excellent barrister who's going to take her on, and we're feeling very, very hopeful. So I said to her that one day I will be able to give her a big hug and see her children in her arms again. And she's just a bit emotional, of course. Of course she's emotional. But we're standing for all children of all communities, of all nationalities, because these are not just white British children that they're taking. This is an African lady who came over to study. She came over to get a degree with her partner and her 3 children, and social services jumped in and took her 2 children and are trying today to take the baby out of the hospital. Well, they will take the baby, but we are ready for the court case, which will be happening in the next 3 to 5 days. And we now have the best barrister for her. So they've got a fight on their hands if they think they're going to take these 3 beautiful children of this family who just want to go back after their studying to their country, where they can use their degrees and have a good life with their children. That's all they want. They just want to go home and have a good life with their children, with their degrees that they've worked hard for here and brought their children up for just a couple of years in this country to be treated like this. So the lady was pregnant when they took the 2 children, and they said as soon as you have this baby, it's going to be removed for risk of future emotional harm. We are asking, they're very loud, we are asking for the Children's Act to be repealed, so the risk of future emotional harm is how they're taking babies from this is what Andy Marie's saying now, is that they're using the crystal ball method to say that children are going to be at risk of harm if they stay with their families. Well, I'm telling you from my research and from the statistics of children that are in care, 86% of children will have abuse within the care system. 86%. And the majority of children that are trafficked and sexually abused are care children. So we know that it isn't for the slightest risk of future emotional harm. We know that they are at risk of harm, physical, sexual, emotional, psychological abuse by being in care. And parent alienation is one of the biggest abuses of a child that you can do. Taking a child from a mother is horrific. It scars a child for life, and it doesn't matter what age they are emotionally abused by parent alienation. Now we know these social workers are being told by the heads of children's services to do these court orders. Social workers are not allowed to do their primary job. Their primary job is to keep families together at all costs. And they are not allowed to do that. They are not allowed by the heads of social services. And in 2015, they had a private meeting underneath the Chatham House rule that they wouldn't allow to say who had spoke at that meeting, what had been said at that meeting. And I know from tweets that came out that this was the agenda at that meeting, to tell the heads of social services that the International Federation of Social Workers had a remit from the UN that said that they had to comply with the New World Order. And the New World Order is depopulation. And this is what it's all about. Now, the Children's Commissioner's Office have data collecting on vulnerable children. And vulnerable children are classed at the most obscure, ridiculous reasons. And they have a target of children to reach within the community of 2.5 million children up until 2025. Who knows how many after that? But if you look at the Commissioner's Office and their data collecting, which I watched their virtual meetings through lockdown when we had plenty of time to sit around and watch what they were up to, they want to remove 2.5 million children out of society by 2025. And at the moment they are winning. They are winning this fight because we are being shut down by the police, by MI5, believe it or not, they're involved, by anybody that is in authority, the MPs, they are not letting us speak out about this. We are asking for the reform, the repeal of the Children's Act of 1989. That is where the issue lies. That is where, and the deprivatisation of fostering and adoption, because social workers have their own companies. They have they have money in it. The bad social workers are seeing that there's money to be made. The good social workers are leaving in their droves, and they are filling those spaces with unqualified, untrained practically, because they're fast tracking them in India and Africa and bringing social workers in like chattel slaves, because once they are here with a visa and with their new shiny diploma, and they're thrown in at the deep end to take children of British families, and British families means of any community, the Sikh community, the Hindu community, the Muslim community, the Jewish community. They do not care whose African communities. They do not care what nationality you originate from. They are going to take your baby if they can get their hands on them. They commit perjury in court. They gang up together with the solicitors, and I've witnessed this firsthand in a court in Newcastle, where they were all furious that they had advocates, and we were only there to be eyes and ears. I couldn't give any legal advice. I'm not qualified. I went as a public person in my own right to sit down next to the gentleman and the mother and the father of the children, and listen and be a witness to what they were doing. And the whole court was furious that we were there. And we got pulled before the judge, and me and Nick was from the People's Assembly in Birmingham. We got pulled before the judge to get a ticking off being there. And then there was a letter sent out that said that we had barged into a court. Barged in. So we wrote a letter to Newcastle Family Court and told them that was most certainly not the case. I hadn't barged into anything. So we're holding them culpable of trying to defame the name of the People's Assembly, which we are. We are the people, and we are not standing for any more child trafficking, because that's what it is, child trafficking by the government. So we've got Billy over here. Sorry, I do get on my high horse, but I have been in a car with Ange, listening to Ange for 6 hours. So I'm ready to talk. Billy, can you say hello to everybody on my live, please?
Hiya.
And tell me why you're here today.
Yeah, basically, last night I got a phone call from myself, Jay, and also Angie, told me what was going on today. We've got a couple in here today that's about to have their child born. Fortunately for me, it was newborn. The university graduate, which I can gather. But basically, they've come to the country, they've done it all the right way, and now so today they're going to be here today to do. And all we're here to do today is to raise the awareness of how corrupt and heinous this system really is.
Thank you, Billy.
That's what I said. These do you know, even though the security that we were talking to, the big people aren't coming out and speaking to us, and if we spoke to the big people like we spoke to them security to say, like, you know, my daughter has been basically put into foster care, her hips have been split in two, then the council are denying me the records yet to see if my daughter's been raped or not yet in foster care. Now, when these are making draconian decisions and taking social workers, you know, words for it and removing children, they think they've got no accountability, but they have got accountability because the baby's born there, yeah. And whoever signs that order today,
Yeah,
it's
the
on their head
midwife.
beer. Yeah, it's on their head beer.
Yeah.
On their head beer, because guess where the children are going?
The
They're getting raped, they're getting abused, they're getting organ harvest, they're getting human trafficked, they're getting adrenochrome in your own factories that you're all own, your NHS, yeah? So, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we have to look at the Alder Hay body part scandal where they found babies in jars in Liverpool, because of some weirdo doctor. You know, how many
That wasn't a one-off. That was not a one-off.
Exactly. You know, how many of these, you know, we've had Jimmy Savile going right the way through the hospital, we've had Peter Wright, who was the head of social services, who was his best mate, who had all the kids and that. Now Jimmy Savile was going in the
Bureau of
hospital
Children.
raping dead bodies in the hospital, So how do we know we haven't got any of these anymore? And that's what I think it is, because they need the targets, they need these kids, they need them. And they're going to get them no matter what. They'll break the law to get these children, and that's what they're doing. They're breaking the law. They're breaking human rights. They're breaking convention law.
That's all right.
They're breaking convention law. They're breaking all human rights to do with the mother and the child and stuff like that. And the kidnapping the children on the grounds of social services say so. When I'm saying that social services have lied in my case, Andy, have you ever had social services lie?
I wouldn't be here if I'd not witnessed what I've witnessed. I don't think you could actually believe the corruption unless you've been through it and have a child removed. My daughter was removed when she was 12 years old. She has ADHD and she was not coming home on time, and I got sick. And what she went through in the care system was just like horrendous.
Did they give you any sort of help before they took her? No support. No support.
I've got no support. We're going to go to court. She's 18 now.
Yes.
But we're going to go to court and we're going to... She lost all her hair in
Is
care.
she happy about that? Is she wanting to do that?
She's coming round. She's moving. She's actually moving back home.
Hallelujah! Woo!
Yeah, so that's
She's got her
I'm
baby
excited.
back.
Got her baby back.
Got her baby back.
But you know, that day that they phoned me and said that my child she's going, it just my world fell apart, and I started to have seizures and stuff like that. I've got a heart condition now.
Heart condition. Yeah.
My daughter lost all her hair. She lost all her hair in care. She went down to 5 stone. She wouldn't eat because that was the only bit of control she had. So I can't walk away with after what I've witnessed and seen and what's happened.
And the abuse that you've suffered.
I've been arrested for child abduction because my daughter ran home to me, and I phoned them, but I phoned the wrong borough. I phoned Canterbury, where she was placed.
Okay.
But the Met Police came and arrested me. And I opened the door and I went, "Oh, you're here." I went, "She's in the bathroom. She's taken back to the placement." They went, "You're under arrest." And they arrested me in front of my daughter. But I was like, this is ridiculous. She's 14. It's not like...
Yeah, and she'd run to you.
Yeah,
she had run to
she
you.
used to run home all the time. I used to hide her everywhere. I did, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I used to hide her.
Because she was obviously being abused. And was she able to disclose that abuse? Or I mean, you might not want to
speak.
She's
got a scar from here to here.
Oh my God.
From the placement she's in now.
That's knife crime, was it?
Yeah, yeah. She's been jumped.
Oh my God, she's been jumped.
She's been jumped by 5 girls and beaten up at school. She's the kid in care. She had a boyfriend that she met when she was in the care system that was beating her up badly.
Because obviously he's a damaged child too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
and so, do you think that the risk of future emotional harm outweighs the harm that a child suffers when they go into care?
Well, there's University of Baltimore have done a research, and what they're saying that the trauma of removal is much more detrimental to the child being kept there and supported at home and getting through the problems if needed, which is what
you wanted.
Which you know what, it's the same for
That's
the
what
adults as
social
well.
services are meant to do.
That was
Yes,
their job, to keep
that's their
family
job.
together, and if mum's having a bit of a bad time, you get respite.
That was pre-1998 when they changed the law.
I have got a petition on change.org to try and get rid of the future risk of harm. We've got 200 signatures, but I mean, I don't know how many we need to sort of like get.
We need, how many was it? Yeah, we need over so many thousands. So we want to repeal the Children's Act. So there is it on your page?
Yeah, it's on my page. It's on the New Sandy one.
New Sandy. So we have a petition to repeal the Children's Act.
And Andy Marie, sorry.
And Andy Marie. It's on Andy Marie and New Sandy. And we want you to sign that petition, please. We need to get the Children's Act changed. To get this loophole. There is a loophole.
It could go
Tony Blair.
to
Tony Blair did it. So even if you just hate Tony Blair, for any reason why you want to help us, even if you just hate Tony Blair started all this. He wanted what he called delinquent children removed from their families and taken away. And this is it is the working class mostly. Yes.
And it's like you're looked upon like you're dirt when you walk into a family court. It's like walking to hell.
Yeah.
And the way they look at you, the way they side-eye you, the way they speak to you, it's all very demeaning. And you're like, have I done something? You know, you're like,
yeah, you're guilty.
Am I in the wrong court?
Yeah, it's like you're guilty of something that you haven't done.
Just being a mom that's struggling, needs
Yeah,
help,
yeah,
and I've got a disability.
Yeah.
But you know, taking my child was 12 when she was taken, but I can't imagine what this lady is going through in there to have a child taken from
In a foreign land.
I can't even imagine how painful that is. I know, Angie, you've been there.
Yeah.
And
to be so confused.
And that's why
It's absolutely heartbreaking, and I was explaining to someone the other day, like, when I had my baby.
Please share this, guys.
Because I carried her for 9 months, she had it in my belly, and obviously all them emotions and the twists and the turns.
You are connected to that child.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And even when she was gone, it felt like she was there, and it was dead crazy. And then obviously it took you into this psychological, like you were in a state, and I was walking around, and I was like
numb.
literally like numb, nothing there. I could walk down the street, and the tears would flow from me, and I weren't thinking nothing. I weren't even thinking anything, and the tears would just be flowing out, and I was normal.
Yeah.
That was the pain inside. The pain was that
it's
horrific.
grief.
Oh.
It's grief. It's you know.
My kid got abused. The council covered it up, and then they stole my daughter because my kid got abused.
Yeah.
And do you know what they said to me as well? They said that unless I get on with the abuser and social services, I'm not seeing the
Yeah,
kids.
this is very much what they
So
try
they
to
gave
do
me
is
a
put an
choice.
abuser back into
I've got to speak to the abuser and social services who basically let my kid get abused. I've got to speak to both
Speak
them
to all the
to see my
abusers.
children. I've just told them, get a fuck me, get a fuck. I'm not fucking, you know, I'm sorry for swearing.
It's all right.
I get angry with them. And do you know what, right? I forgot about this one because I was just explaining to the doctor then, not the security that came out. So when my daughter got discharged, I went into court the next day, and the judge actually raised with me. She said, "Oh, why does it say here that Millie was discharged under police pressure?" So I was like, "What?" So anyway, I got in contact with the doctor. The doctor then shifted off to Syria. And he wouldn't put the statements in, but he got sacked and he got shipped off because he put that
this
in
is
paper.
what they do. They disappear people.
He basically put his job
Because
on the line
he
for
put-
me, yeah. And even, do you know what?
Under duress.
I'm not going to say who it was yet, but there was a couple of people there that actually got me photos and sent me them a couple of months later. And they took pictures of me because they felt so sorry for me. They knew what was going on. They said it's so wrong what's going on. Even the staff knowing
They
what's
know.
going on. And they can't
Well,
do
what they
anything.
did, they moved in management into the maternity, just like they did with social services. They brought in management that knew what the remit was for taking children. So the management are the ones. I talked to a midwife, and she was a newly qualified midwife, and she knew. She said to me, she was in Newcastle. She said, "We know what's going on, and we know it's so wrong, and yet our management are telling us, don't shut up, do your job, or you'll lose your job."
Exactly.
So it's exactly the same in the maternity wards as it is in the social services.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying, we need like a big hole, like, you know, we need D notices dropping, we need gagging orders dropping, we need the children's files releasing, but obviously the children's files are not there. They've been burned, destroyed, flooded, fires. What is the most important thing is an affidavit of truth. You write your statement down. That is the most powerful thing in the world, because they've lost the records.
They don't want to give your truth, but do it anyway. They don't want your truth to come out in the court. That's why they'll put a block between you and the judge, which is a solicitor. And very often the solicitors are working for the corporate business. So if you can self-represent or get somebody that's very good at helping people, and I don't want to name any names because then I'll get into trouble. You've got to be able to get your truth out in court, and that it's very hard.
Can I just ask you, you know, in your family court hearing, did they ever consider your human rights in all of this?
There was a mention of Article 8 and how they're overriding family
life, yeah?
Yeah, there was mention of that, but not...
No one took on board the fact that you were breaking the law. No. It's exactly the same in my case when I went the other day. They're breaking the law, and I actually ran out in the court, and I was like, I want this judge arrested. Get Merseyside police here now. Get them here.
Is this your court?
This is in the court. The court staff come over. They were like, get out the court, and get the fucking police. Get that screaming at them. Yeah. I'm not having it. You know, everyone knows what happened here. Do you know what I mean? They all know. The police come out and they go to you, oh, you know, what's up with you today? Like I haven't told you 100 million times before. Like the copper on Downing Street, yeah.
Right, I'm going to hold the sign for a bit, guys. Thank you very much. If you'd like to share this is the hospital where this young lady is being held under duress. She doesn't want to be there. She wants to be home with her baby. And we're waiting for the social... Well, we don't know where the social workers are. We're not going to confront anybody. They would like us to, so they can call the police. We've spoken to security. They've got two of their lovely gentlemen sat over there in the bus stop. And I spoke to the head of security. I explained exactly why we were here and gave him a wealth of information, like I do. And he was shocked. He said, look, I can't comment at the moment. I said, I want you to go and see the proof and be able to share it with other people. I said, we have veterans. I knew he was a veteran, ex-veteran. I can just tell. I said, we have veterans and we have people watching these social workers, and I can tell you firsthand that some of these social workers are actually trafficking. They're taking the babies home. They have facades of a foster company, and they are trafficking children. There's no other word for it. And they're making vast amounts of money out of our children. And if you look on .gov, the .gov website, the government website, under assets, which tells it all, doesn't it? You can go and look for fostering and adoption agencies, and you will find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of private fostering and adoption agencies that are being used, that are facades. For if you look on Companies House, you look at the names of the people that the directors of these companies. You will find doctors, you'll find taxi drivers, you will find social workers, you'll find psychologists, you will find people that are connected to this corporate business of trafficking children, and some of them have other companies like logistics companies, medical bioscience companies, stem cell harvesting machine products companies. You can just find that this is a way of getting money. This is a £60 billion industry a year. Not just the money that they're making through the fostering and adoption agencies.
It's going on in this hospital today. We need to save the children from social services. Abusing children.
So I'm going to go now and just have a bit of rest my mouth a bit. I'm really sorry to, well, I'm not sorry. I've come all the way from Cumbria here to, she knows we're here. I've spoken to Esther. She's very, very thankful for us bringing notice of the whole situation. We don't want to cause her or anybody around her any harm, loss or injury. We haven't come for that. We've come to just show our support, let her know that we're here and tell her that we are working on her behalf for her children to be given back to her. This lady is a lovely born-again Christian. Her partner is by her side. The children were taken under false pretences and they need support and not having their children snatched. All they want to do is take their degrees that they've worked hard for, take their children and go back and start being employed in their country with their new degrees, and they can't go anywhere now because the children are in the clutches of social services. So here we are. And thank you for watching, and please do share this. And the risk of future emotional harm in... Oh, I've got Rangi ringing me. I'm just going to come off now and answer Rangi's telephone call. Bye for now.